Hola, hello, welcome to Beast International Film Festival. Its fourth edition, which is happening 24th till 28th of March, online unfortunately only, but with some screenings later offline when it's going to be possible. I'm Bohdan Zhuk, I'm part of the team of the festival, and as part of the program we have Focus Romania, and we are showing Acasă, My Home, a documentary film by Radu Ciorniciuc. And I'm very glad to have Radu with us talking about his film. Hello, Radu, and welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Bogdan. Hi, Bogdan. Thank you for having me here and for making this festival happen, even in these strange circumstances.
Well, it's our pleasure, at least, to do it the way we can and to highlight such outstanding films as we do. And one of them is yours. We are very happy to screen it. So yeah, I want to ask you about your background. Well, you're a journalist, and this is your first film. So could you tell me, please, a bit more about your work as a journalist, the Journalist's House, which is an organization that you co-founded, I understand, and you are part of, and what led you to making this film?
I'm a reporter. I started as a long-form non-fiction writer, specialized in in-depth researches and multimedia. Basically, I started doing these long pieces that took many months to research, and I've always been into photography. So yeah, Casa Jornalistic is a place where we a group of young journalists almost 10 years ago had enough of working in the mainstream media and understanding that the limitations of working in a conventional newsroom are quite a killer for us and for our drive. So we basically squatted a house in downtown Bucharest, which became a hub for creative people, mainly journalists coming and working on their stories or looking for guidance and or sources and so on. And yeah, this was the first independent media organization in Romania. It was 100% financed by the public. It was crowdfunded. And at that time, it was quite a success, mainly because the stories we were doing were quite out of the ordinary, in the sense that, unlike reporters working in mainstream newsrooms, we had enough time to properly focus on the context of the most important stories, let's say, in our society. And speaking of this approach to journalism, it was quite a natural shift for me to go into documentaries, as documentary filmmaking. I mean, I see documentary filmmaking and journalism quite that they're quite complementary, in the sense that, you know, in journalism, journalism is a profession of the emergency of the event, and documentary filmmaking offers you a frame to analyze the context and go a bit deeper into certain events. So yeah, between starting making this film and working in the journalism house in Casa Jornalistic, I did main investigations for big international media. I worked a lot as a freelancer. I traveled the world, and then I started this film as let's say, a special project in which I would go back to my creative roots and create something of my own. It wasn't a film in the beginning. It was just an intention of making a reportage, and it slowly developed into this idea of trying to and succeeding to find a form for the story that would give us enough space to include all the things that we thought that are important about this family's journey and this family's drama and everything else around or surrounding the family. So, yeah.
And was it difficult for you to sort of get close to the family, because in the film you have many pretty intimate moments and details? So did it take long for you to get to know them and for them to open up?
I mean, we've spent 4 years in making this film. So in 4 years, there's a lot happening in any relationship. You know, you can become friends with someone in a day. Imagine 4 years. You know, so. But there are some. You know, we were quite privileged in the beginning to meet the father of the family, who was already working as, let's say, an informal local fixers for all sorts of scientists or campaigners or other journalists that would come and write and promote the park. So when we came there, we were just seen as just another journalistic crew wanting to make a reportage, and Jika was very open in showing us around. It took a bit to get to film with the whole family, with the children, and it was also like a process. The way we started this film. We did a lot of interviews. We did a lot of the conventional journalistic work, and we gave up on that when we realized that this story can't be told in such a limitative medium, which was the reportage. We need more time. We need more space. We need more. We need to learn a bit more. I think there's certain things that were fascinating to me, and certain things that made me want to explore making a feature-length film were quite overwhelming in the beginning. So I needed to start a learning journey as well into filmmaking, and which took a while. And returning to your question, it was a process. It was a process. We were welcomed. We were welcomed with joy by Jika, and then we slowly became interested in his family as well. And this is this is how we started this relationship, basically. And I'd say that we had our harsh times as well as our very good times, but this is the basis of any friendship, I think so.
And are you still in touch with them? How is the family doing now?
I'm in touch with all of them. Yes, we also started a social project just a year into starting this project for this film. This social project is still going. We have a lot of partners, and it grew quite a lot. We're in constant touch with the children and with their mother. Unfortunately, the father passed just a few months ago, so things aren't necessarily very bright in the lives of the children right now. But the older members of the family, the adults, came back, including Vali, who's one of the main characters of the film, came back to give his mother some support, some emotional support, as well as taking care of things while this crisis is settling.
Mm-hmm. And the social project is in support of this family, or is it broader? Does it have a broader scale? Yes.
Well, it started as something that was obviously focused on helping the family become socially independent. We started this also because the alternative for them after leaving the Delta would have been for the parents to end up homeless on the streets, and for the kids to end up in a orphanage or somewhere not very nice. So we invited a lot of specialists to help us build this thing that we call a model for social intervention, and we've had psychologists and educators and medics and social assistants and so on working with us and trying to develop the best way, both ethically and socially, in order to help the family become independent, basically, and stick together. So, and we had some really good results. We had some amazing partners. We had some amazing workers, people, professionals to work with us, and the kids. There are other kids who benefit from all these resources. The children are going to all sorts of alternative education programs, and as far as I know, there are other children who benefit from the things that these kids receive, which are scholarships for their education mainly, and for the adults. I mean, it was a lot of work to do. The children never saw running water, for example, or never had the documents. Wow. They were social ghosts, for example. So we had to start from scratch. They never took the garbage to a bin, so we really had to start from scratch with for the girls as well, with basic knowledge of sexual education and sexual hygiene and so on. So it was something that was quite complex, and it grew over the years. And luckily, we've found some amazing partners to help us give this initiative some perspective, some sustainability, in the sense that although we're not involved anymore on a daily basis, things are going forward there. And again, there's a lot of for someone who lived for his whole life in such an isolated way, it's not easy to become part of the community, of the society. It's a slow and it's a hard process for them, but luckily we've always been there, and our partners as well. So the things should be easier.
And well, we all know that there are racism and issues of prejudice against Roma people in Eastern Europe, in Central Europe, in Romania in particular. So in this context, what was the effect maybe of your film? Has it been shown in Romania, and how was it received?
Well, it's hard to say. We all want to change the world, don't we? We all want to stop the things that we consider abusive and hurtful for other people or for ourselves. But I think the most important thing is to continue doing these stories and continue making, even these films that put a mirror on our society's face, and maybe ask some questions that would eventually lead to some, if not all, of the people that would, hurt to stop abusing. So yeah, the film was shown in the country. It had a quite good cinema run in the summertime when the cinemas were open. It is on HBO Go, and it did quite well there as well locally. I'm proud to say that we've shown the film to audiences that aren't necessarily used to watching these let's say humanized humanize stories on people that their opinion are a bit different. Mm-hmm. And I saw some tears at the end of the film on some hardcore people, hardcore conservative people on their faces, which is always something that I'm proud to mention. So I hope my film would continue to travel in these environments, and especially in these environments, and hopefully that's going to happen when cinemas will be open again.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's quite an achievement. So congratulations on that, on the pretty good success of the film. And yeah, well, if it's changing the opinions of even hardcore conservatives, then it's good, very good.
And I made some cry. I'm not sure if I changed their perspectives, but allow me to dream.
Well, it can't happen instantly. So one person at a time, or a few people at a time, that's already something.
One story at a time, absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Well, that's it for the questions that I have. So thank you very much again for joining us, for doing this interview, and we are glad to screen your film and to show it to more people, and hopefully change the world bit by bit.
Thank you so much, Bohdan. It's been a pleasure.
So this was Radu Ciorniciuc, the director of Acasă, My Home, which we are screening as part of Focus Romania within the Beast International Film Festival. So thank you for watching this interview, and see more talks, Beast Talks, and see more films. And see you.